The sound of the final buzzer means it's hangover time. So grab a drink and join your host, Alfonso Sydney, for a Miami Heat Beat post-game show.
This one gets a half-hearted fist pump, all right? I mean, you beat the Knicks 98-96 at home. There's some good things to talk about this game, some bad things to talk about in this game. But with the team, the Miami Heat right now, there's no such thing as a bad win. I would love to, say, oh, this is a bad win. The guy should have, they should have blew out the Knicks. But really, how much better are the Heat than the Knicks? I mean, they're tied right now in the seeding. So I really don't know if you could say, the Heat blew this one. Tied up with 5 minutes left, the Heat pulled it out in the stretch, even with Jimmy having a bad final 5 minutes. So go ahead and Brass, pull me out. Somebody's yelling at me already. Some bad things suck, a lot of bad things. All right. I'm trying to put, it's Tuesday night. I'm drinking on a school night, trying to put some positive spins on it. So let's go around. Let's see what everybody's drinking. Let's go around the horn. Siobhan, what are you drinking tonight?
Mondavi brought it back. Sauvignon Blanc and Maker's Mark with some raspberry lemonade and some ginger beer.
Double fisted on a Tuesday. You gotta love it.
3-game win streak.
3-game win streak. You should have 3 drinks. By the time an 8-game win streak comes around, it's gonna be rough. Tiffany, what are you drinking tonight?
I just got a little pineapple juice with some Tito's.
Like it, love it. I'm on the Sprite and vodka like normal. Brass, what are you drinking tonight?
I got this Johnny Drum Kentucky bourbon. I'm drinking.
You always got some new shit.
Oh, I got a giant bar.
God, I need to come up to New York and check out that liquor cabinet.
That was like my one quarantine hobby.
I started my hobby way before quarantine. Jack, what are you drinking tonight?
Got some Tito's. Got a little bit of lemonade over there. What's up with the Zoom, man? Nobody else got the Zoom.
Everyone else got the Zoom.
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
It's just so much more noticeable. It's so much more noticeable when you get the Zoom.
Yeah. I'm wary of the Zoom now after last episode.
No, we won't do that anymore. I didn't think anyone was watching. Solana. Oh, shit. I forgot.
Solana's here.
Jesus. What are you drinking tonight?
Hey, happy to see all of you too. Fuck you guys. I'm on that Tito's tip, but make no mistake, hard seltzer night. Always, baby. Hard seltzer night.
Are you mixing Tito's and hard seltzer or?
Nah, I mean, all right, I don't know. Do we still do drip drop even when?
No.
Not on weekdays.
Not on weekdays.
Not on a Tuesday.
Soft. Well, then I guess I'm not drinking Tito's. I'm just drinking hard seltzer then.
Soft.
No, just because we're not doing drip drop doesn't mean that you should only be drinking hard seltzer.
Yeah, that's.
I have to drink a hard seltzer. Like if I'm drinking, there's always a hard seltzer within like 10 feet of me, no matter what.
You don't need to tell people that.
It's like soft coming from Mr. Soft Drink.
That should be his new nickname. You can change his title. You can edit his name on here.
I do like Clamato Man. I kind of like that.
All right, guys, it's 3 wins in a row. On the bright side of things. Before we go in, let's talk about some of the things. Man, that's going to be tough. I know for Siobhan and Tiff, it's going to be tough. I'll start. I know you guys want to go in right now.
You the reason we windmilling on people on the internet.
It's not my fault. Y'all
out here fighting for my life, being mischaracterized.
They
just windmilling.
They pulling direct quotes from y'all, so I don't want to hear it.
That's fine. We can talk.
Y'all can. I know nobody coming at you about Duncan tonight, so don't worry about that one. My positive for the night, fourth quarter, they held the Knicks to 14 points. I had a lot of people talking about how great the Knicks defense looked in the second half. I feel like, and they did. I mean, they held Miami to 41 points in the second half, but the Heat's defense was no joke in that fourth quarter. They held them to 14 points. The Knicks missed some bunnies, missed some shots around the rim. But listen, if you're gonna give it to the Knicks when the Heat are missing layups, you gotta give it to the Heat when the Knicks are out here missing. Siobhan, you got any positives away from a 3-game winning streak? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I think while he could have looked better, I think Bam could look good. But I'll leave that for someone else. It sucks that he was nowhere to be found for the entirety of the third quarter. As you made so clear to continue to reminding us. But Tyler showed up, at the end. When it took all of Bam and Jimmy to even get us to the end, and we would like that not to be a thing. When we got there was someone that was, ready to put his stuff on the table and get a bucket and just play. And I don't know. I like what Tyler gave us to start off the game, and I like what he gave us at the end. I wish he would have been somewhere present in the in-between time, but I like what he gave us at the end.
I like this comment. You think after 2 straight games, Eric Reed would learn the difference between Peyton and Barrett. And man, that was rough. I mean, I don't think he got it right one time in the last 2 games. It's like every single time, and I'm not going to lie, a couple times I was confused too. But anyway, Alfred Payton should have never cut his hair.
That's true. We got some gifting of tier 1 subs. We have Eric the Great 539 gifted 5 tier 1 subs. Twisted Tapioca also gifted 5 tier 1 subs.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for supporting the show.
2 kings.
Supporting Hangover Time and Miami Heat Beat. Tiff, I know Jimmy had a rough last 5 minutes, but he was out there defensively. When you get, like Siobhan says, when you carry a team on your back like that through 3.5 quarters, almost with a triple-double, 1 rebound away, is it, are we worried about Jimmy crunch time numbers, or are we more heartened by the fact that KO and Tyler and even Bam getting to the line all stepped up in those last 5 minutes?
As of now, I'm not worried about Jimmy in the crunch. I think that he plays hard. That's the one thing I will say. Jimmy does not cheat you. He does not shortchange you. He is out there scraping and scrapping for rebounds, loose balls. He plays hard. So sometimes by the time the 4th rolls around, he's running on empty. And that's when you got to look around at everybody else and say, who's next? Because that's the whole point of having a team. When one person goes down, the next person has to step up. Positives, 3 in a row, take them how you get them. That's literally, you beat the person in front of you. That's all you can do.
And these are the games they needed. Jack,
exactly.
As you pointed out when we were just talking shit before the game, this is the easiest game of this. These are the last 2 were the easiest games in this next stretch.
That's it.
And Jack, you had a positive. I think it's a little bit different than what most people were thinking coming away from this game. But I think you do have a point. What was your positive takeaway from the night?
I think generally, both with Tyler and with Bam, they didn't have the best games. I think Bam had one of the worst, in a lot of ways, performances that I've seen this season from him. But I mean, he shot 16 free throws, which is, I think, if you're looking for the next step of Bam's growth, it's not going to be the 3-pointer first. It's going to be getting to the free throw line consistently, and that's all about aggression. So, I mean, he shot like shit. He didn't look wonderful, but he's getting to the line. He's getting contact. And I think if you're looking for something to go forward, you say, well, Bam's going to start hitting shots. That's inevitable. But if he can couple, his regular shooting night with like 10-plus free throw attempts consistently, then you're looking at something really nice. And I think the same thing goes for Tyler, who, disappeared for stretches. But if you're looking at something, you say, well, maybe it's positive that we have a guy who can kind of go cold, but still has that kind of like that amnesia or whatever, like where he can still hit a big shot in the 4th, regardless of whether he's feeling it or not. Like
he literally had the same shooting night from the floor as Jimmy did. They were both 6 for 15, but Jimmy just got to the line 15 times. Speaking of getting to the line, Solana, I don't know if you noticed this tonight. The Knicks, there were several times the Knicks had like third-degree assault charges out there that weren't called. Like the Heat got to the line 40 times, and there were several people on my timeline accurately pointing out that the Heat should have probably had 65, 70 free throws tonight. It was absolutely ridiculous. Like Nerlens Noel became Dikembe Mutombo all of a sudden, where you just respected his lauded defensive ability. Like it was insane.
Yeah, it got to the point where the Heat broadcast on Fox Sports pulled up the 1997 highlights, the series where there was like that big brawl in Game 5. P.J. Brown gets ejected. John Crotty was on that team. He's talking about how this game reminds him of that 97 series, which is the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever heard.
Well, the scoring was like a 90s.
Other than the scoring, but there was a ton of fouls. But in terms of comparing physicality to 97, which might have been one of the most physical series in the history of the NBA, to tonight where RJ Barrett played like 30 minutes, I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it at all.
I mean, the physicality on one side was akin to the 90s. I mean, I don't think that the Heat were out there with Kelly Olynyk trying to grab rebounds under Mitchell Robinson. I don't know how that kept happening. Like, I don't know how. Well, actually, I do know how that kept happening, but that's a whole nother story.
Out of all the games, I don't think we could be slandering Kelly tonight.
Right. Viva la Kelly.
Yeah.
I mean, Kelly getting 4 fouls in the third quarter really hurt. And honestly, that should not be the case. Like, you should be able to survive some minutes without Kelly O. But Tip, there was one thing, and this is one of the things where, like, there was a spot in the second quarter where I got pissed at Spo because there was like a Vincent Nunn, Hero, Iggy, Precious lineup. It was something like that. I don't know if it was that bad, but it was just like a really bad lineup. And then we're getting mad at Spo, but then you watch at the end of the game when they need a stop. Like, he was doing some offense, defense stuff with Iggy and Kelly and Duncan and moving those 3 guys around. He needs to stop at the end of the game. He takes out Kelly Olynyk, and his only option to put in to try to guard Bullock, whatever his name is, around the perimeter is Duncan Robinson.
Yeah.
Like, that was your defensive stopper. You know what I mean?
Your last hope.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, I hope Duncan can stop this dude. You know what I mean? And I guess I'll ask all you guys, like, is Spo coaching his ass off or fucking up? Because I'm not sure when I look at this roster.
It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both.
Gabe Vincent was a minus 16 in 5 minutes tonight. Do you know how hard that is to do?
That's why he didn't come back.
If you put some NBA teams in an empty gym, they're not scoring 16 points in 5 minutes. Like,
that 1 3 he hit though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was exciting.
Looked pretty good.
Which means they scored 19 points. No.
Right.
Yeah.
In the 5 minutes that he was out there, they scored at least 19 points. So, I mean, it's Spo, like, Siobhan, this year watching Spo, how do you feel? Like, are you sitting here like, is he driving you crazy, or are you just like, man, he's doing the best with what he's got?
It's super maddening, right? Like, it's really conflicting because on one hand it is, doing the best with what you have, but on the other, it still feels so like, what the fuck are we doing? And like, you almost want to resign it to maybe maybe like him understanding the truth and the essence of what this team is, and maybe like understanding that at some point we're gonna look like fluff. Like, there's gonna have to be some fluff in the defense for us to get through. And so, like, wishing and praying and coaching it up and putting the right defenses out to close. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's what he's doing. But I even still, I want a little bit more from him, offensively, creatively wise. But I don't know, defensively, maybe he is just light years ahead of us and like really has a true pulse on what his team is, and like has to sacrifice some small stretches in the middle to be able to crescendo it all home at the end. So,
well, Jack, with about 6-7 minutes left, he went with a no Precious, no Bam lineup, and Kelly and Iggy were out there, which I haven't seen a lot of this year at all. If Bam is healthy, right? And that lineup actually got them back into the game, or helped them get completely back into the game, tied it up, and then Bam came in for the last 5 minutes. So I feel like Spo has become more flexible as this year has gone on, and I think it's been out of necessity. And I don't think he's getting the proper credit for some of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's one of the most flexible coaches, if not the most flexible coach in the league. And he's had to be, you're right, it's totally out of necessity. He's had so much shit thrown his way, whether from injuries, just since the Big Three era alone, injuries, wild injuries that completely transform your roster, weird moves by Pat Riley. He's had to contend with a lot of different teams and adjust a lot successfully on the fly. So I don't really understand what he's doing, but it's working sometimes, and I trust him.
He's been Solana. He's been handed a lot of shit hands by Riley, right? I mean, outside of last season, it's the last 7 years has been a test. What can you? Here's this pile of shit. Make me a fucking, make me a 3-course meal with it.
And he does, right? Doesn't he? Yeah.
I mean, this year I think some of this stuff is catching up to him, but we're gonna see over this next stretch, right? I mean, when we're up till 3 o'clock in the morning doing hangover time, I'm gonna be mad as hell. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, if I'm up to 3 o'clock in the morning and we just lost by 30 to the Utah Jazz.
I was wondering how that was gonna work. By the way, are these 10 p.m. games? Is there gonna be hangover time after?
It's hungover time.
That's cool. That's cool.
We'll be eating breakfast. I put those games on my. I thought there was.
Yeah,
it was about what Pat Riley gets Spo, but then we started talking about West Coast game. I put those games.
When are they announced in the second half of the season? By the way, because they haven't even talked about the dates yet, have they?
No, I don't think
they
so.
haven't released a schedule.
I haven't heard anything beyond
Schedule goes for
March
less than a
7th.
month. Yeah.
I think they're waiting for the giant super spreader moment that is going to be the All-Star game. They're just assuming they're going to have to cancel.
The heat is queuing
Why are we doing it?
That's honestly, I didn't even notice that. I didn't notice that there were no games scheduled after March.
Worried about the next 10 games.
Yeah.
Worried about beating the Knicks. I don't have time to worry about the second half of the season.
I take it one game at a time.
This is the second half.
This is the second half.
This is the second half.
This is the home stretch right now.
This is it. This is sink or swim.
Well, Brass, I wanted to get into some deep analytics and some numbers, but Tiff is here tonight, and
she doesn't believe in that.
Well, yeah. We all know how you feel about numbers stuff.
First of all, I don't believe in numbers. So the net ratings and this, that,
what are you,
and the
Marjorie
other.
Taylor Greene? What are you talking about? You don't believe in numbers?
Oh shit.
The next, once we get some merch up there, Tiff, that's going on a T-shirt. I just gotta let you know.
I've already started. It's the logo. It's the Tiff Harkless logo.
You got to put that back up so people can look at that Tiff Harkless logo at the bottom. That is genius. That is genius. Fuck them numbers. I mean, the numbers will tell you Kelly's been this and Iggy's been that, but the numbers will tell you that Iggy's been bad in the fourth. But honestly, I think when they're able to use him correctly at the 4 in the fourth quarter, Tiff, I think he can give you something. But it's just when he's just out there jacking up threes as part of your offense, it's not sustainable.
Well, the idea of using him should be the same idea that we had last season. You use him in small bursts. You use him in small spots. You got 25 seconds, put him in over here. 35 seconds, put him in over here. 2 minutes, put him in over here. But because we have no healthy bodies, we have no defense, we are running him ragged.
We have no Jay Crowder.
The idea is Iguodala should only get, I don't know, if he's shooting, I don't want him taking more than 5 shots a game.
No.
Like
he's open for a reason, guys. Everyone on the Heat, when you're driving in for a layup and you see Iggy open out the corner of your eye, he's open for a fucking reason. Like, there's a reason that nobody's guarding Iggy. Like, they're like, let him shoot. And we keep throwing it out to him. Guys, start sending us in your questions. I promise we're actually going to read some this game. I do that shit all the time. And then we read like one question and then we get off on a tangent about Moose's apartment or Jack's ability to go. No, let me stop. I told you I wouldn't. No more of those jokes, Jack. No more of those jokes.
I think passing to Iggy probably feels like when a player's getting up off the bench and they're walking to the scorer's table, and then like in the periphery, the passer thinks they're a player on the court, and then just passing out of bounds. It's probably not that much better with Iggy, where it's like you see somebody in the corner, you pass it to him, and you look, and you're like, "Oh fuck, man!"
You just see the same color uniform, and you don't really realize who it is until the ball's already been passed. Like,
or like when you pass to your coach or the ref.
Right.
And you mad at them, like, move, get out the corner.
Why you on the sideline?
Hell yeah.
Iggy's over here like, I'm in the game. What do you mean move?
Shit, nigga, move.
To the bench.
Nah, I still like Iggy, though. I think what you said is correct in spots when he's able to be used. Someone said this in the chat. He's so much of a specialist now that it's almost sad. And yeah, he's not maybe, the Swiss Army knife that he was with the youth and athleticism, shooting all this and all that. But when used, properly and for what he can give you, I think he still has something to give you. And touching on what you were talking about last year and how we were able to use him then, I still like the absence of a Jay Crowder, just what he allowed you in physicality and guarding up. It was easier to go extended stretches without an Andre because you had someone else of the same prototype that was able to give you that and more because of a bit more girth.
And I will say one night off in between games for Iggy is just not a really good recipe for his success, because it happened in the playoffs and you saw he'd have one good game, one bad game, one good game, one bad game. And the fact that they need him so badly now because their defense is so bad, they don't have a lot of defenders, I think that's lending to some of Iggy's, he struggled. One night he looks good, he's stealing everything. The other night he's struggling. Solana, what's going on? Grip the Flip 23 asks, what's going on with Duncan Robinson?
I wish it is just that he's in a slump, right? Like, I feel like that is possible, but
Anthony Tolliver.
Probably not.
You don't think it's just a slump? You think that
Anthony Tolliver,
right?
Nah, come on. By the way, Anthony Tolliver, 2K16 legend. I just want to throw that out there. 2K16 legend.
Anthony Tolliver, anytime he plays the Heat, legend.
Hit 4 threes basically every time he hits.
I've never seen him miss against the Heat. Talk about numbers. Somebody can look that up. He's 100% from 3 against the Heat. Jack, why y'all got these weird Fleotidin?
That's G.
What is that? The anime shit?
It's definitely G.
That's G in the chat.
Jack, Fleotidin asks, what do you guys think it's going to take to maybe get Kyle Lowry? After the night, I don't think you can trade KO and none. You need them.
We got to hold on to them.
Yes.
Oh,
that's what I'm wondering. I mean,
Captain Canada.
Set his ass to the Raptors.
We talked about
we
this.
need him.
Yeah, we do. No, I mean that's part of the problem. We talked about this on the podcast and a little bit on the pregame. I think Kyle Lowry would help this team a ton. It's just you don't have a ton of assets, and unless if you have to give up KO, then what? You get like a 34, almost 35-year-old Kyle Lowry on an aging team, and then you don't have a power forward. You don't have an NBA level power forward. Right. So you'd have to make sure I don't know exactly what it would take to get Kyle Lowry. I would assume you have to give up Duncan or Hero. I can't imagine I can't imagine getting him without giving up one of those guys, because who wants Kendrick Nunn right now? He's had 2.
We do.
He said, yeah, I mean, we need him, but I think it's a move that you make if you know that you can get somebody good off the buyout market, something like that, because you're still a huge positional hole away from being a contender, I think. Even though Kyle Lowry would be, I think he's great. I think he would be an amazing addition, but yeah, I really hate these jerseys. The worst jerseys.
Joey Hauschauer of Miami Heat Beat asks, can we be done with these jerseys? We look like gender reveals. And that is not wrong.
We're all having twins.
I like the jerseys. I'm like the only person who likes them. I don't know.
No, I like them.
Like shit.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Those Knicks.
Oh, now I think my
trash,
opinion is
though.
wrong.
Those Knicks jerseys are terrible.
Yeah.
Those Knicks jerseys, what are those? They look like the practice jerseys.
Bad. One of my good friends is a Knicks fan. I have a Knicks fan friend.
Why?
It's shocking.
I have one
I am
too.
in New York after all.
Right.
And he was
Most
like,
of my friends are Knicks fans.
He said, I've been waiting my whole damn life to get a black Knicks jersey, and they give us this shit. It's not. It's not good.
Poor Knicks fans.
I mean, I think the Heat had so many good jerseys, and I think a lot of the NBA did. But when you have to make a new alternate every year,
Right.
you're going to get a lot of stinkers. It is insane that Miami had, I think for 3 years running, the best-selling new jersey in the league, because everybody was like, oh, these are the best jerseys, almost maybe ever. They were that popular.
Yeah.
And then these just are not as good. I get if you're fine with them, but they're a lot worse than the other ones.
How else do you close off the Vice era, though? These are the final
This is the right way.
of the. How else do you encapsulate all of what Vice was?
I think the pink should have been where the pink and blue should have been where they ended it. I think that was pushing their luck, and it worked. But the pink was the farthest extremity that I was willing to go with them.
Nah, the light blue was arguably the freshest one.
I have a Jimmy Butler light blue one. I fucking love the light blue. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. I
like them all.
I think I think you're right. These are clearly, if you're ranking them, the last one, but I think they're fine. They're not the worst jersey in the NBA. Go look at the Brooklyn Nets jersey. I mean, their city
Which
edition.
one? The Basquiat one?
It is the Basquiat.
It's the Basquiat one.
I'm not sure, but
and Basquiat shit shouldn't be on.
No, it should not be hanging on Kyrie's chest.
I like that Coogee one the Nets have.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
More
fresh.
of that.
The Coogee sweater one,
Yeah, that one's fresh.
The Nets
the
have
Dallas one. Oh, the Mavs.
Oh no, the Dallas
graffiti.
one, that Nickelodeon shit.
The Mavs one is awful, and the Cavs one I don't like, with all the weird lettering that's from different shit. Have you seen
It's
the
like a ransom note. It's a ransom note.
Yeah, it's like a ransom note. It's literally cut out logos to form the word Cleveland, like rock and roll logos. And it looks
that shit
insane.
don't say Cleveland, it say help.
Yeah. It does look insane.
We have your daughter.
The Spurs, I think have the freshest ones this year. It's it's like black, and then it's like their old school colorway.
I haven't seen
the colorway.
The Fiesta.
Yeah, I feel like it's just their old jersey they brought back.
It's a little cleaner. It's less cartoonish and more clean lines. I like it. It's a good rebrand. I think they should full time do that.
Yeah,
they should. Yeah.
I mean, because they just became as boring as their jersey colors. They took on the identity of their jerseys. It was just this boring black, silver, and white.
It's so true. The Spurs really did they bought into that whole Popovich, just old man conservative shit, and it's nah, man, that's it. Tim Duncan's gone.
Pop is the cornerstone of that franchise.
He's gone. I think he's gone soon. And I think
I think so.
Is it Becky Hammond? I think she's taking over soon.
Yeah,
which would be cool to see.
Vassell looks good. Their rookie Vassell looks really fucking good. I saw a stat today that he was, I think. It couldn't have been right. It was the first. Yeah, it was the first lottery pick by the Spurs to start a game since Tim Duncan started in 1997. The first rookie lottery pick to start a Spurs game since 1997.
Damn, that means you went on a run like a motherfucker.
They went on like a fucking insane run.
You ever had
the entirety of my life, they were on a run.
Someone said the Celtics jerseys look like a walking insurrection.
Now I gotta look.
Oh no, that throwback jersey that looks like racism?
Yes. It looks like back of the bus.
Yeah.
Which one? Because they all do.
It just says Boston Celtics, right? Like
it looks like all their banners that shouldn't even count because
that
it's
shit look like
gold.
Yeah, it just looks like they're old banners.
Yeah.
It just looks like black people weren't allowed to play.
It looked like 2 water fountains.
It looks like 9 teams in the whole league is what it looks like. And you didn't have to be creative at all.
Like your damn lunch counter.
Solana, Jack, you guys can laugh openly.
Yeah, I don't know. Just drinking.
Well, you mean Hoffman doesn't crack jokes like this?
Oh,
Crowder does.
Did we talk for real though about Kelly though? I don't think we did Kelly.
Yeah, we didn't give Kelly any shine.
Speaking of white people,
who played in Boston.
Right.
Former Celtic. I mean, honestly, Kelly gave you what you need from him. Yeah. And like I've been saying, they need Kelly to jack up threes like this because if that's their only option and their best option at the 4, like he needs to shoot because it makes things easier for Bam. You can't play Bam at the 5 unless the 4 is shooting threes, unless you're spacing the floor.
Right.
So I knew Kelly would have this game eventually. Like he's not that bad of a shooter, but he still can't rebound. But let me stop. Okay. Y'all, Siobhan, give Kelly a shine because I was about to go off on him and his non-rebounding 7-foot ass. Like I'm tired of it. But go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I can't get with that either. Like I wish I had 7 feet of. But no, I think Jack made a point. I think a couple of pregame shows ago or a couple pods ago, also that like one of the biggest issues with this group currently is that he himself has not been performing to what we've seen him do and what that does to also limit the offense and to shrink the floor, right? And someone else in the chat last game put in the comment about him spacing to above the break also, and just so the fact that he does space to where he does space to, and when he shoots, again, without thinking, without hesitation. I don't know if people understand like the catch and pump fake to any direction and reload back into a shot. That's a hard shot to do.
For a 7-footer too, by the way.
For anyone.
Anybody.
And I watch it every game purposely. I look for those moments to see the percentage of dudes that knock that shot down. That is a hard thing to do. So when he's able to just, kind of let it fly, I think he is an invaluable piece because he is the type of piece that we want if he would just put all 7 of those feet to use and get a fucking board also. I like Kelly. I like what he gives us. I just want him to give us the rest of what his stature suggests that he should be able to give us.
I mean, but we all know, man, Kelly is up and down, right?
Yeah.
Like he's going to give you...
Holy hell. His headband flew off.
This year it ain't the Kelly Keeper, it's the Kelly Coaster. And
like
that's almost too many K's. I'm sorry, Solana and Jack. You guys are just uncomfortable down there. Kelly should be, one of these guys off the bench, like making your second unit really good. Like Jimmy goes to the bench, Kelly comes out. We know how him and Bam play together. But it's once again, this team this year is just relying very, very heavily on guys who should either be second unit or third, fourth, fifth unit, because they don't have a reasonable facsimile at power forward. Because it's like right now it's him or Andre. I don't know. Is KZ hurt?
His defense is.
I think
not good.
I just think I think Spo's had such a short leash on him all season long, and he just doesn't trust him. Like so much of the lineups we see is Spo just trusting people. Andre is a perfect example. Like no matter how many plays he makes that you just want to fight him, Spo trusts him no matter what. Like he just does.
But it's so strange though, because we have like all these other guards who have these incredibly long leashes. We have so many guards, and the position at which KZ could actually help us, he gets no freedom to mess up or to do any of those things.
But he's been I understand that people
that too.
He's been bad.
He's been bad. And like I feel like Spo is done with the experimentation. Like he tried it a lot and he went 6 games under 500. And you see tonight, Gabe Vincent got 5 minutes. Outside of that, they had an 8-man rotation against the Knicks in February. Like that shows you where this team is. Like I think there's a sense of urgency right now. You got 36 minutes for Butler, 35 minutes for Bam. The playtime is done. Like these guys all had their chances to shine, to show that they belong in the NBA, and none of them have. Even Mo Harkless, I think is he done for the year? Mo Harkless hasn't proved that he's an NBA player on this basketball team. Like
Mo Harkless has played like 4 games though. I'm just saying. I don't want to count out Mo Harkless, and not to be the Mo Harkless apologist, but Mo Harkless was what played a fraction of the season. I really think we're gonna see Mo Harkless when he's healthy. Right, but we're not counting out Jimmy Butler and counting out like canceling him from the roster already.
I think we got to start counting out people who can't do both things.
But
we can't do that because we'll be devoid of teams.
No, but I was just trying to say that you can't make the comparison of the Gabe Vincents, the KZ Okpalas to Mo Harkless, because for a 10-game stretch, Jimmy Butler was out, and Mo Harkless played, I think, 1 or 2 of those games. He got injured in the other. KZ and Gabe Vincent were being given those minutes. Like they were
still while
actively
Jimmy was out.
I get what you're saying, but then
it's not to defend Mo Harkless. You can't put him on the same level as the other two.
I get exactly what you're saying, but here's the other side of it. If you're comparing him to Gabe Vincent, guess what? Mo Harkless has had a career.
Yeah,
we know who he is. I don't understand why we thought he was going to fill that 4 spot, because based on history, it tells us absolutely no.
I will say though, like there's something to getting in heat shape, and I think like on the flip side of that, like he also has had a career, and like I don't think he was a great signing. I don't think he was the fit to fill the 4, but I also think if they don't make another move to get a 4, like behind Kelly, who else do you got? And like I'm not sure that KZ is an NBA level player. I'm not sure if Gabe Vincent is an NBA level player. Mo Harkless like has pedigree of being like an NBA level player. Like whether he's good or bad, he's an NBA quality player. I don't think he's a good fit, but I think there's more potential for Harkless to be in a playoff rotation than there is for KZ and Gabe Vincent. So like I'll say that to Alex.
Yeah, I agree with the rotation. I don't think he's gonna. First of all, he shouldn't start. He hasn't. He didn't.
No.
His pedigree tells me he shouldn't start.
Yeah.
That's just about Mo.
Yes.
Yeah.
But even when we've seen him as a serviceable piece, have we seen him at the piece at which Miami is?
No.
Need him to play at, like as
do we believe
facsimile of a 4?
But do we believe
he can't be a 4? He's too small.
He's too small, and I also don't know how many minutes. I think a lot of the time that we did see a KZ, I'm not going to be a KZ apologist. I'm not, stomping that pavement. But have we seen stretches or enough stretches of like what a KZ next to the rest of our dogs look like? Like, what have we seen enough of a KZ next to a Jimmy and a Bam, or have we only seen KZ under distress with lineups devoid of any other options?
Right, that could be true too.
That's so true.
That could be true.
And it's probably a disservice to guys like KZ and to guys like Gabe Vincent that the majority of their shot, right, like their chance to prove that they belong, came without Jimmy Butler, and it'll probably hurt them in the long run, certainly.
But
that's a good point.
What I will say is, like, look at a guy like Gabe Vincent tonight. When those guys play run with the normal lineup, They can't even get shots. So you had chances to get shots, to get possessions, to show you could do something with the ball, to show you could do something with those minutes, and these guys did nothing. Like you said, Mo Harkless played 3 games. He's played 9 games, has 1.3 points per game, less than a rebound, and half an assist per game. That's an NBA vet. I don't care where you drop him. As an NBA vet making $9 million a year, he needs to put up better numbers than that. Right, so I don't like. I'm kind of done with the Mo Harkless apologies. I'm done with the KZ apologies. Like I get it that these guys can't really shine, or they're not going to look the best next. In Chris Silva, Gabe Vincent lineups, but they've also had their shot against against the main with the main lineups, and they've done nothing. Like absolutely nothing. They look when you put them next to Jimmy and Bam, they look even less like NBA players because you see the difference. And like it's not like these guys have played off these other guys very well. Like these guys are just not there. And Spo has right now 8 guys he can trust, and one of them is Andre Iguodala, who shouldn't be playing more than 15 minutes a game, like Tiff said. And I think that's one of the reasons. Like I get mad at Spo some of these games, but it's really hard because I'm looking at this lineup like what does he have to work with?
And we forgot we don't even have Goran right now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You got 8 guys you can trust. You might fully healthy have a 9-man rotation. And can you trust this team to be fully healthy?
No, I will say but you kind of said it earlier that like they are kind of in win now mode, right? Like they're playing everybody 35 minutes a game. They're playing their like playoff rotation as well, like as much as they can, to kind of get those wins. And like a lot of people in the chat are saying the KZ experiment is over. And like, I don't know. I'm not like out on him. I think it could go either way. Maybe next year, like if they still have him on the team, I think he can be a good like he can get those minutes. Like we were talking about, like Tyler early in the season was trying out point guard, even though he knew it wasn't going to work and knew it would be kind of messy. We don't have time for messiness. So like, especially this season, you're digging yourself from a hole. I don't think anybody expects them to go on enough of a win streak to give themselves a cushion to experiment. Right. So that's why I do think like if one of them are going to come back, I think it's going to be Mo Harkless, just because I do think he's a veteran presence, and I think Spo respects that. Do I think he's good? No. Do I think he's a good fit? No. But like but they do not have anybody.
No, they don't.
They don't have enough forwards to really be picky.
They don't have anyone in the pipeline.
I would rather see him than KZ at this point.
That's the main thing. What Jack just said. We don't have time to find out if Tyler Hero, through a 72-game sample size, can become or take that next step as a ball handler. Yeah. We don't have time in this 72-game sample size when you essentially lost 12 of the first 23 games due to injury and whatever, all the nonsense. If these guys are going to show us enough to where, hey, it's worth playing them through the rest of the season through their struggles, just don't have time. Like you don't. And I agree with the Mo Harkless, and I will battle with you, Alf, on this every time. He's played 9 games this season. The 1.3 points per game is unfair. That is an unfair stat. You know it. You know it.
If it was me, it'd be unfair. But if NBA vet, it's unfair. But what I will say is guys like KZ, even for Chris Silva, Gabe Vincent, even to a certain extent, Tyler Hero, no training camp, no G League, no Summer League. Not for Tyler with the G League, but Summer League, Tyler would have played Summer League this year.
Yep.
KZ would probably, would have had some Summer League run. He probably would have got a lot of G League run. Like he needs those reps. He does not need those reps in live, in fast-paced NBA, action. Like it's just not. This is not the time for a guy like him to learn.
Precious too. Really Precious in the G League would have been so helpful.
Yeah. I lament a lot on the G League not being here this year because, I mean, for the last few seasons we've been sending guys down and they've grown. I mean, we have used that league to the most of its ability, but then again, everyone is always hurt and sick. So I don't even know if we could send people down. I don't think we could afford that
makes us even more devoid of depth. While they're away honing their craft and working on their game and stuff, we are 6, 7, 8 bodies and Jimmy out for 12 games.
Yeah. You were right. You were right, Alf, when you said Like they're in win now mode. You're right. Like there's no question about it. There was a point in the game, the broadcast, E. Reed mentioned it. There was 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Jimmy and Bam had all the points in the second half.
27 points.
Yep. Had all the points. And they're like 20 of the 27 were free throws, but whatever. Like they're getting it done. First of all, that's not sustainable. Second of all, it's not a formula for success. But third, I do look at that as these guys saying, okay, whatever it takes. Like if this is what it's going to take, is what it's going to take. So there's like some good and bad there. But if you're playing Houston on the road, you're probably down 15 if Jimmy and Bam are your only scorers with 6 minutes left in the second half.
I think 15 is generous. Because you're talking about 27 points with 6 minutes left to go in the fourth.
Yeah,
that's all you scored in the second half. 27.
Yeah,
they scored 40. I think what did I say? 41 points in the second half. It was not enough. I guess we'll kind of end on this. Over the next, I know the schedule is brutal. I don't have it pulled up. What is success for you? And I'll start with you, Solana. Over the next 10 games.
Are we speaking strictly about Mo Harkless or the Miami Heat in general?
Well, first Mo Harkless.
No. Nah, I mean, look.
A record over the next 10 games.
Do you want me to read the schedule real quick?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. We go Knicks. We just did Knicks. Rockets, Jazz, Clippers, Warriors, Kings, Lakers, Thunder, Raptor, and then Jazz again.
Well, it's the 7-game road trip, right? That I think we all have circled. First and foremost, on Friday night, we beat the Wizards. The Heat beat the Wizards. We talked about the next 2 games, how important they were against the Knicks. First of all, fuck the Knicks, loser franchise. Took 2, love it, super important. Credit to the Heat for doing that. No matter how ugly it looked, credit to the Heat for doing that because I honestly didn't think they were going to do it. If they go 4-3, I get that doesn't sound great, and I get that's me not having guts, but I think that's very good. I think that is very good. You survive a 7-game West Coast trip when everything has looked terrible this season. You survive above 500. I think that's really good considering the schedule.
Jack, the next we'll just keep it to 7 games. The next 7 games.
Yeah. Let me see. They have to. So they have the Jazz, the Clippers, Warriors. They got to beat the Warriors and the Kings. The Kings are playing really well. The Warriors are like no slouches. They have Steph Curry and Draymond Green. Like they have talent. They have like superstar talent. Steph Curry's the best player on the floor on most given nights. They still have to win those games. Those are 500 teams. I think they should get the Thunder game. I think they played Jazz twice in that like 10-game stretch. They need to win one of those Jazz games. They need to at least split that. They need to get every game against like a 500-ish team and then one against a good team, I think. 4-3 is good. Anything 500 or below is bad. If you can do anything more than that, that's great.
4-3 on the road trip, by the way, really quickly, sorry to interrupt. 4-3 on the road trip would be 7-3 of their last 10, including the Wizards and 2 past Knicks games. So if you're looking at it on a 10-game sample size before coming back home, that's really good after 10 games of no Jimmy Butler. That is really good.
I said the 10-game sample they had to win. They had to go at least 6-4 for me to be like happy with them. And I mean, if they go 7-3 over the next over these 10, that would be pretty incredible. I think that would be exactly like you would look at this team completely differently.
Yeah.
Tiff, what's success over these next 7 to 10 games?
Above 500 and everybody healthy.
Yeah.
Like you got to get both of those.
Yeah.
You have like there's no way they can afford to lose. They can't afford to lose Gabe Vincent. Like they can't afford to lose anybody.
They really can't.
That is a body.
Right. So it's like you got to be above 500 and you got to be healthy. And I don't think I need to see Gorn in the next like 4 games.
We would love to give him as long a break as possible. But here's the thing, Siobhan. Them being above 500 and healthy, I feel like I don't know how that's going to happen, or I'm scared. I'm worried that can't happen without Jimmy playing a ton of minutes. So I feel like what's going to happen, it becomes like war of attrition over the league. Like you get above 500 over the next, 7 games, and you lose Jimmy for 2 weeks because he rolls his ankle, and then you get Goron back, and then you're back in the same hole again. So, I mean, is there a way to come out of this stretch winning and healthy?
We have to hope that there is, because I fully agree. I'm looking. Jack tweeted the schedule, early in the day: Rockets, Jazz, Clippers, Warriors, Kings, Lakers. You want to get the Kings, and of the next 10, we play the Jazz twice. So you want to get one of those Jazz games. I'm looking at this schedule, and I want this team to be who we all want them to be too, but I'm also looking at who they are in this present moment, and it is taking Herculean efforts from Jimmy and from Bam to get us past the Knicks. The Knicks are a much improved team. They have size. I think we still undervalue size, and I don't know. To answer your question, it's going to be, like I said, a war of attrition. We come out on the top side of 500 over this next stretch, but I just fear that it's going to come at a taxing cost of Jimmy's body and whatever Goran looks like if and when he comes back. I would love to sit him sometime. I don't know that we can afford that or not, but then we have to look at what we are willing to afford in the now and what we think we're willing to afford later. And we can't even get to it later. Like the second half of the season need not even be published because we can't even think that far ahead.
We'll be tanking the season without a draft pick. Which, Solana, how mad were you getting when the Knicks bench was running up and down?
Don't start with the stupid Knicks. Seriously, I don't get Knicks fans. I don't get the Knicks in general. Just the biggest losers, the biggest loser franchise, biggest loser fan base, and you know what? Because it's National Pizza Day, Chicago deep dish over fucking New York style. I'll drop that bomb in here, and I don't even know I believe it, but today,
believe it.
New York does not deserve any victories in anything. Absolutely,
I kind of agree with you. Not gonna lie.
Fuck that New York pizza.
And Tiffany lives in New York.
I'm from Illinois.
Brass, can you make a "fuck that New York pizza" shirt for?
Put her holding the pizza like this.